Dear students, welcome back. In this lecture, we will learn about circulatory system in UNIO. I am Dr. Lata, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Maharani Science College for Women, Bengaluru. So when you look into the circulatory system in case of UNIO, here the blood vascular system is well developed and it is of open type. It comprises of the blood, heart, pericardium, arteries, sinus and veins. So in open type of circulation, what happens? The blood vessels, it does not end in capillaries, rather the blood move outside the blood vessels in open spaces called as sinuses. So it is from these sinuses the blood is picked up by the veins for the purpose of oxygenation. So such kind of circulatory system you call it as open type. Now this diagram will give you an idea as to where the heart is present, and while discussing the digestive system we said it is the rectum that pierces through the pericardium and it passes through the ventricle and comes out. So this gives you a clear idea as to how the rectum passes through this pericardium and the ventricle and comes out. So here heart in case of UNIO is three chambered. You have two auricles and one ventricle. You can see one is labeled as right auricle, the ventricle is a bigger chamber, and then you have aperture between these two, which we call it as auriculoventricular aperture, and these apertures they are provided with valves which in turn prevents the backflow of the blood. Now let us learn the circulatory system in UNIO, the components of the circulatory system in UNIO in detail. First, let us discuss about the blood. Here the blood is the circulatory medium and it mainly consists of plasma and corpuscles. Here plasma is colorless, but in few species we find it as a bluish colored tinge because of the presence of a copper containing respiratory pigment hemocyanin. A large number of colorless amoebocytes or corpuscles are also found in the plasma, and some leukocytes are granular and as well as non-granular also, and these granular leukocytes, they are mainly phagocytic and helps in removal of this waste. And this blood, what is the function of the blood? It mainly performs like the usual function of the blood is distribution of oxygen and nutrients to all parts of the body, and it removes carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste that is generated. Now coming to heart and the pericardium, we know that heart here is in case of UNIO is three chambered and it is found enclosed in a thin walled triangular sac called pericardium. It is situated in front of the posterior adductor muscle and placed mid-dorsally. So this pericardium is filled with a fluid known as pericardial fluid, and it represents the part of the coelom. Now here heart is three chambered, having one ventricle and two auricles. Auricles are thin walled, highly distensible triangular chambers which are present one on either side of the ventricle. Whereas when you look at ventricles, they are thick walled, muscular and horizontal chambers surrounding the rectum. And these chambers of the heart, they are the auricles opens into the ventricle by an auriculoventricular aperture which is guarded by a valve which allows the flow of blood from auricle to ventricle and prevents the backflow of blood. And this heart in case of UNIO, it beats around 20 to 100 times per minute. Now this diagram gives you an overview of how the circulation pattern takes place. So here this is an auricle, and this leads into this big horizontal chamber, the ventricle. And if you observe from this, on both the ends of the ventricle, this and this, so both the ends of the ventricle gives out two major arteries. One is the anterior aorta, the one is the posterior aorta. The one which moves towards anterior side is the anterior aorta. The one which moves backwards is the posterior aorta. From the anterior aorta, we get branches that supply blood to the viscera and then to the kidneys, whereas posterior aorta, it supplies blood to the mantle, and from the kidneys, the blood from the viscera, it goes to kidneys, and from kidneys it comes to gills, and from gills, once the blood gets oxygenated, it is poured back into the auricles, and from the mantle also the blood gets oxygenated and it is poured back to the auricle. And at the same time, some blood from the kidney directly goes to the heart, to the auricle, meaning the heart receives both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So let us learn this in detail. Now, arteries. So we just learned that each end of the ventricle, it is continued into an aorta, anterior end into anterior and posterior end into posterior aorta. The anterior aorta, it passes over the rectum, while the posterior aorta, it runs below the rectum, and they give off number of small arteries that supply blood to different parts of the body. Now from the anterior aorta, you have three main arteries coming up. For example, this is the ventricle, and from this you are getting this anterior aorta. From this you will get three main arteries. One which goes to the mantle, which is called as a pallial artery that supplies blood to the mantle, and you get one artery to the foot, which is called as the pedal artery that supplies blood to the foot, and then you have one more visceral artery that gives off four main branches. One is towards the stomach, which you call it as gastric artery. Then it gives off one more branch to the digestive gland, which is called as hepatic artery, and then it gives off a branch to the intestine, which is called intestinal artery, and it gives off branches to the gonads, which is called as gonadal artery. Okay, so from the ventricle you have a major artery coming towards the anterior end, which is called as anterior aorta, and this anterior aorta gives off three main branches. One is towards the mantle, okay, which we call it as pallial artery, then one to the foot, which is called as pedal artery, and one the visceral artery, which further gives off four branches. One to the stomach, which is called as gastric artery, one to the digestive gland, it is called as hepatic artery, because we said digestive gland is like the liver, so the name hepatic artery. It gives off one more branch to the intestine, which is called as intestinal artery, and the other one goes to the gonad, and it is called as gonadal artery. Okay, these are the different arteries that splits from the anterior aorta. Whereas the posterior aorta, that gives fine arteries to the pericardium. It gives off one branch to the kidneys, and it supplies blood to the rectum, and finally it continues as pallial artery, which supply to the mantle. Now let us understand this through this diagram. If you are asked to write about circulatory system, this is the diagram that you need to draw. but don't get scared by looking at the diagram. It's very easy. We will split it into parts and try to understand it. Okay, now whatever is shown in the dotted line here in the diagram, that represents the digestive system. You can make out the mouth, the stomach, the intestine, the heart, the kidney, and these vertical dotted lines ones are the gills. Now this is ventricle, sorry. Now here is the ventricle, which is the ventricle. This chamber is the ventricle, and from ventricle you are getting two main branches. Which are those branches? Anterior aorta and posterior aorta. Now which is the anterior aorta here? This long tube that is coming here. Okay, so this is the anterior aorta. We said that gives off three branches. Which are those? One is to the mantle, okay, and this we call it as pallial artery, anterior pallial artery. It gives off one to the foot, and that we call it as pedal artery. Yeah, here pedal artery. And we said it gives off one more, which we call it as visceral artery. Okay, this whole thing is called as visceral artery. That again splits into four. Now this branch here that goes to the stomach is called as gastric artery. Then it comes down a bit, and then it supplies to the digestive gland, which we called it as hepatic artery. It further goes down and supplies to the intestine. We call it as intestinal artery. And it supplies to the gonads, so we called it as a gonadal artery, or it's labeled as genital artery. It's okay because that supplies to the gonad. Okay, so these are the different arteries that splits from the anterior aorta. Okay, now when you look on the posterior aorta here, now we said this anterior aorta, it goes above the rectum, and posterior aorta, if you see, this is the rectum in the dotted line, and the posterior aorta comes little downwards. So that's why we said posterior aorta runs below the rectum. Okay, now this posterior aorta, it gives one branch to the pericardium itself, and then it gives one artery. Can you see here the small artery here? It gives to the rectum, so it is a rectal artery, and it gives to the mantle on the posterior side. Anterior side, anterior aorta will give anterior pallial artery. Here it is the posterior side of the mantle is supplied by posterior pallial artery. Okay, so these are the arteries that are formed by the anterior aorta and the posterior aorta. I hope this is clear to you. Right, now next thing is we will talk about the sinuses. Now we said that the arteries, since the circulatory system in case of Unio is of open type, now the blood that comes to these from the pedal artery, when it supplies to the foot, here there are no capillaries, so all this will end in the sinuses. So when it ends in sinus, here if you see, there it is a vacuum, it's a lacuna, it's a empty space. So that means, so whatever the blood is brought from the arteries are poured into these sinuses, and from here again it has to be picked up by these veins. Okay, so these sinuses are those lacunae which actually lack the epithelial lining of true blood vessels, and you don't find any capillaries in the mollusks. Hence we call it as an open type of circulatory system. Now the next aspect of circulatory system is veins. Now this venous blood from the visceral organs, they need to be collected by the smaller veins. Like if you observe this diagram, Now I'll mark for the veins. Now from the viscera, now here whatever is marked in dark black color, those are the veins. Okay, so here you have gastric vein, that means it picks up blood from the stomach. And here if you see, you have hepatic vein that picks up blood from the hepatic, refers to digestive gland, so that picks up blood from the digestive gland. Then you have intestinal vein picking blood from the intestine. Then you have gonadal vein picking blood from the gonads. Okay, so now all these gastric from the stomach, hepatic, intestinal and gonadal, they all join together and they form a common seat. From this gastric coming here, all these join together, they form a common vein called as visceral vein, right? Now this visceral vein, it continues backwards, and then you have the pedal vein which collects blood from the foot. Now this pedal vein also joins this visceral vein. So when the pedal vein joins the visceral vein, then it becomes a little more bigger vein which we call it as vena cava, right? Now this vena cava, it takes all this blood which is collected from the stomach, hepatic vein, intestinal vein, gonadal vein and the pedal vein, and it takes it to the kidneys. Okay, so here are the kidneys, and this vena cava, once it enters the kidney, that becomes afferent renal vein. Afferent, AFFE. Afferent means the one the blood vessel which brings in the blood. Okay, efferent means the one which takes away the blood. Renal refers to kidneys. So here the afferent renal vein means that takes all this blood to the kidneys, and it is named as afferent renal vein. Now these afferent renal veins, the blood from the vena cava that goes to the kidneys through these afferent renal veins, where nitrogenous waste is removed from the blood. So from the kidneys, once the nitrogenous waste is removed, the blood is collected by efferent renal vein. Now what is the difference between afferent and efferent? Afferent are the ones which brings in the blood, efferent are the ones which picks up the blood. Okay, so here the efferent renal vein that picks up the blood from which the nitrogenous waste is removed in kidney, and that blood it pours it into the gills. That is, the efferent renal vein picks the blood from the kidney and that joins into. So if you observe here, these are the efferent renal vein, and this efferent renal vein joins into the afferent tenoidal vein. This longitudinal one is the afferent tenoidal vein. Now why we are calling this as afferent? Where it is supplying the bringing the blood to? This is bringing blood to the gills here. Okay, hence called afferent. Tenoidia means gills. So from the efferent renal vein from the kidney, the blood is brought to this afferent tenoidal vein, and this pours the blood to the gills. That brings in blood to the gill filaments, where the process of oxygenation takes place, diffusion of gases takes place, and the blood gets oxygenated. Now once the blood gets oxygenated, the oxygenated blood is picked up by the efferent tenoidal veins. Efferent because it is picking up, it is taking away the blood from the gills. So this efferent tenoidal veins picks up the oxygenated blood from the gills and it pours it into the auricle. At the same time, the posterior pallial vein, pallia refers to mantle, so this posterior pallial vein that takes up the oxygenated blood from the mantle. Why oxygenated blood from the mantle? Because we know that mantle is also highly vascular structure. That means it is richly supplied with the blood, and hence it also can bring about oxygenation of the blood. So this pallial veins picks up the oxygenated blood and pours it into the auricle. And as we have already said earlier, a small portion of the blood from the kidney, it directly goes back to the heart without getting oxygenated. Hence the heart receives both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So it's very easy to understand, provided you know the names, and you should know from which artery, which small artery or vein will come. So this represents the venous circuit in case of UNU. So this is how oxygenated blood is poured back into the heart. Again, the same cycle repeats. From the ventricle contracts, the blood goes into both anterior aorta and the posterior aorta. This anterior aorta and the posterior aorta, and we said anterior aorta gives off three major arteries here, that is anterior pallial artery to the mantle, and then pedal artery to the foot, and then visceral artery, which again splits into four, which are those: gastric artery, hepatic artery to the digestive gland, intestinal artery to the intestine, gonadal artery to the gonads. Whereas the posterior artery, that gives off an artery to the rectum, so it is called as rectal artery. It gives off a branch to the mantle, so it is a posterior pallial artery. Okay, and then once the picking up of the blood from the visceral organs is there, it is done by the veins. Similarly, the gastric vein, that picks up from the stomach, the hepatic vein from the digestive gland, intestinal vein from the liver, from the intestine, and gonadal vein from the gonads, pedal vein from the foot. The gastric vein and the visceral vein, they both join together. The gastric vein and these intestinal, hepatic and the pedal vein, they join together to form a visceral vein, and visceral vein continues. When it receives the pedal vein, then it forms a vena cava. Vena cava takes blood to the kidneys, and the vena cava, when it enters the kidneys, you call it as afferent renal vein, which brings in the blood to the kidneys for removal of nitrogenous waste. Once the nitrogenous waste is removed in the kidney, that blood is picked up by the efferent renal vein, and this efferent renal vein joins the afferent tenedial vein, which takes the blood to the gills for oxygenation. Once the blood gets oxygenated, the efferent tenedial vein picks up this oxygenated blood and pours it back into the ventricle, and then the posterior pallial vein, where it picks up the oxygenated from the mantle and that pours it back into the heart again, and then this cycle continues. I hope it is clear to you. So all you need to do is you have to just draw the diagram, sit and observe from where you find which vein is going to where, and that makes up your answer. This is all we discussed. And finally, to summarize, you may have to write this flow chart which shows the movement of blood from the heart, that is from the ventricle to both anterior and posterior aorta, from posterior aorta to mantle. From the mantle, the oxygenated blood is picked up by the pallial vein and that pours it back into the heart. Then from the anterior aorta, the blood goes to the mantle. Then it also sends blood to the visceral organs, then vena cava. From the vena cava, it goes to kidneys. From the kidneys, it comes to gills for oxygenation, and from gills, it is picked up by the efferent branchial veins and it pours back the oxygenated blood to the heart. So this is how the course of circulation, blood circulation takes place in UNIO. So I hope you understood this concept and you practice the diagram and try to learn it. These are the books from which the content is taken. Here are a few questions to answer. In UNIO, circulation is of what type? We said open type because it has sinuses and not capillaries. Heart in UNIO is 3-chambered, we know, but what are the chambers? Either it is one auricle or two ventricles, or two auricles and one ventricle. It has two auricles and one ventricle, so the answer is option B. And the part of the heart that surrounds the rectum is the ventricle. Then the artery that supplies blood to mantle is a pallial artery. Then in UNIO, the vein that picks up oxygenated from the gills is efferent branchial. So the correct option is option B. Always you should remember afferent means which takes blood to the organ. Whether if it is taking to kidneys, it is afferent renal. If it is taking blood to gills, it is afferent tenedial. Efferent means that takes away the blood. Efferent tenedial veins means which takes away blood from the gills. Efferent renal vein means which takes away blood from the kidneys. So that is the difference between afferent and efferent. So here, since the oxygenated blood from the gills is picked up by efferent branchial, the right option is option B. So I hope you enjoyed learning this circulatory system in UNIO. The diagram looks complicated, but once you put your mind and practice, it is very, very easy to write, and it is a easy marks fetching kind of a topic. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.